Hi everyone! So today's video is going to be the ride or die tag, and I was tagged by my friend Charmaine. And I remember seeing Jaclyn do this tag video a few months ago, and I just knew I had to do it. Within the past month or so, my skin has changed. It has went from extremely oily to normal to dry. So I am still testing out new products and things that I really like on my dry skin. So some of these things I've been using for a while, and some of these things I just started using. So I know this is going to be a long video, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first product is a primer, and when I had really oily skin, my ride or die was the Makeup Forever Step 1 Mattifying Primer. This is the best primer for oily skin because I used it for myself and my clients. It really helped keep my skin normal. Like if any oil did come out, it looked like natural. It just gave me like that natural glow. But I do have to say it can be really drying, so if you have normal to dry skin or just like normal skin, I wouldn't recommend that one. I only recommend that if you are extremely oily. And my second one was the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. So this primer is like in between. I feel like it's good for oily and normal skin, so I still use this. So it comes in a pot and it looks like this, but I feel like this is good for any skin type. But now that my skin isn't as oily, I still use it for like my forehead, for my lines, because I feel like it helps smooths out any lines. So that's what I use this for, and I like to use it right around my nose area because I tend to get really dry and cracked right there, and this really helps. Now that my skin is normal to dry, I feel like a whole new world of beauty products have opened up for me, and I can try out a lot more things. So right now my favorite primer is the CoverFX Illuminating Primer, and this is what I have on underneath my makeup right now. When I had oily skin, I stayed away from anything that said illuminating. I do wish I would have tried this when I had oily skin. So I've had this for a long time, but I just never used it because I was so afraid. It just gives me this dewy glowing base without making it look oily. If you have oily skin, you should at least try this out. Like, stop at Sephora and get a sample. I do wish I would have tried it just so that I knew what it was. It's just that I was so scared of anything that said illuminating, so I never like even bothered. So next up is foundation, and my ride or die foundation, even when I had oily skin, has to be the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. The regular HD one that was before the Ultra HD, that one was my ride or die as well. I love it. I love using it on myself. I love using it on clients because I feel like it dries to like a satin finish. It's perfect for bridal because it does, like, you know, it does hold up really well. It has a long wear time, and I highly recommend this to anyone who's in the market for a new foundation, and especially if you have a yellow undertone. That was my favorite part about it, and I'm currently in the shade Y325 if anyone is wondering. Next up is concealer, and my number one ride or die concealer has to be the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. I am in the shade Neutral Medium. I do like to use this under other concealers. This one seriously hides any darkness under my eye. I use it on myself and on my clients. I don't have it on right now. Currently, I am still trying out the Tarte Shape It Tape. It is too soon to call it a ride or die, but I do feel like it's quickly going to become that. I do have a whole tutorial explaining how I use it, why I like to use it. I will link that video down below if you are interested. Next up is face powder, and I'm not really a big face powder kind of person. I usually just use translucent powder, but if I do feel like using a face powder, I do always reach for the MAC Studio Fix powder. So this one is really full coverage. It is a foundation powder. If you're going for a natural look and you already have on liquid foundation, this on top of that is probably gonna make you a little cakey, or it might feel a little heavy. But if I have a photo shoot where I want my face to look completely flawless, I do use the powder on top of my foundation. And I know it seems like a lot. You don't wear it for a long period of time. I don't wear it every day. Next up is under eye setting powder. I think about back then, before like the whole baking and under eye setting thing even like became a trend. Like, what did we used to do? Like, it's crazy because I don't remember what I used to do for concealer. I think I didn't even use concealer back then. I just used my foundation because I used to use the MAC Studio Fix foundation, and I used to just double it up as concealer. I don't remember ever setting it with anything. So I don't know, sometimes I like to go back to my old videos and watch just to see like what I did differently back then. But right now, my favorite under eye powder is the Mercier Translucent Powder. This is probably everyone's favorite powder, but it can be a little drying, but you just have to make sure you like dust away enough. So next up is blush, and I really love the Sigma Aura powder in the shade Coeur de Rosa, and this is what I have on my cheeks right now. This is seriously my favorite. I just started to use this a few months ago, and it is the perfect color. I think it just matches my skin tone so perfectly, and it gives me that perfect amount of color. because it's like a peachy pink color, but it's not too bright. This is my staple blush, like if I have an event, and you know, when you go to events, you want to have your go-to look. You don't really want to try a new look. In the event that you mess up, you may not have time to fix it, so that is my go-to blush. It never lets me down. It matches every look, every lip color, every eye look. It's just perfect. Next up is bronzer, and mine has to be MSF Give Me Sun, and this is a mineralized skin finish. It was between this one and Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I feel like the Chocolate Soleil is definitely number 2, but this one is number 1. Since this is a mineralized skin finish, it gives me this really natural looking warmth and glow to my face, which I really love. And then I like to go over that with the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. But if I had to pick one, it's definitely this one. Now onto highlighter. Even though I use so many different highlighters and it was really hard for me, I have to say that the number 1 that I always use on top of all the other highlighters, because usually I use 2 even on myself and my clients, the one that I always have to add on top is the Balm's Mercier Illuminizer. So this is definitely a ride or die. You can use this alone, but I feel like it's so bright that I like to just add it to the tops. It's just not the same without this one. So this is how it looks like. This is my 3rd one and it always cracks. That's the only thing. I've already broken one and this one's already starting to break, and the one that I use in my kit is already starting to break. Next is mascara, and if you know me, you know that I'm not a mascara person. I don't really care for mascara. It's like I'm not particular about it. I really just use whatever. I only use it to coat my lashes so that they'll stick to my falsies. I'm not too picky with that, but right now I am really loving the Makeup Forever Excessive Lash Mascara. Even though it's not waterproof, it doesn't run, which was my problem with a lot of mascaras. I always had to use waterproof. My eyes always water, and my mascara would always, you know, get down here, and if I wore eyeliner, it would always get on the bottom, and I just hated the look of it. So I don't really like mascaras, and since I always had to use waterproof mascaras, I hated getting them off. But this one, it stays on, it doesn't run, but it's not waterproof, so it's easy to take off. So I really love this one. Next up is lipstick, and no doubt that it's MAC's Cherish lipstick, and this one has always been one of my favorites. It's just a perfect nude. Even though I don't really use lipsticks anymore, I always use liquid lipsticks. If I ever wanted to wear a lipstick, or if I wanted a perfect nude lip, I'll always go back to Cherish. Next up is a liquid lipstick, and my ride or die liquid lipstick has to be the Dose of Colors matte lipstick in the shade Truffle. This is my number 1 lip color of all time. I really love Dose of Colors formula. I love the way that it feels, I love the way that it looks, and if I don't know what lip color to do, I always go back in with this one. Next up is lip gloss, and this is the IT Cosmetics lip gloss in the shade Perfect Nude, and this one really is the perfect nude. This one on top of Cherish, they just go so well together. That's how it looks like. It's not too opaque, it's not too thin, and it's not sticky. It's just the perfect color. I also keep this one in my purse as well. Next is lashes, and I am being completely unbiased here. My favorite pair of lashes have to be Snob from my line Superficial by Sophia, and I just feel like they're so perfect for any look. They can be worn with a really dramatic bold eye, or it can be worn natural. They really are just the most versatile pair of lashes, and I absolutely love them. I highly recommend them if you're interested in my line of lashes and you don't know which one to get. I really recommend Snob because they just go with every look. This next one is Eyeshadow Palette, and I honestly don't use eyeshadow palettes anymore because I hated carrying around like 2-3 palettes just because I like certain colors from different ones. So I do have like a Z palette that I use all the time, and I do switch out the colors. It's never really the same, like especially when I travel. I always go through all of my little eyeshadow pans and then I pick out which one I think I would like. So right now this has a mixture of MAC eyeshadows, Makeup Geek, Anastasia, Luxie. It just has a ton of different brands of eyeshadow pans, and if you're not familiar with Z palettes, they're just like a magnetic palette that you buy, and then these like little eyeshadow pans that you can get from like certain brands, like it could fit any size, anything like that. And I just like customizing my own so that I can fill it up with colors that I actually use, and so I don't buy palettes that contain colors that I'm not really interested in. But I do know that eyeshadow pans and Z palettes aren't for everyone because they can get a little messy. If I had to choose one regular eyeshadow palette, it would have to be the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasures palette. This is how it looks like, and it is a little bit messy. It has a perfect crease color, like 2 matte browns, and then it also has a black eyeshadow with like a highlighting color, and then all of these super pretty shimmers, which I really love, which is why I chose this, because I just love the shimmer in here, and they're like foiled colors. They're so pigmented. I just love them. So that's how they look like. I didn't swipe in too hard. I could probably get away with just bringing this palette with me on a trip Next up is setting spray, and this one isn't really a setting spray, so it's not advertised to like lock your makeup in or anything like that, but this is the Smashbox Primer Water, and I just love the way that it makes my face feel. It really does combine like all the patterns on my face. It just gives me this beautiful, flawless finish, and I do feel like the way that I do my makeup, it stays on pretty well. And I've never had a problem with this. I never had like, you know, my face start to slide off. I use this more as a setting spray than I do a primer. And last but not least is perfume. My ride or die perfume is the Chanel Chance Eau Tendre. I do have a whole perfume collection video as well, so if you'd like to see like my perfume collections and what kind of perfumes I'm into, I'll also list that down below for you as well. I just love the way that this one smells. It's just so girly, but like not too girly, I would say, but still sophisticated, and I love the way that it smells like after a few hours. Alright, so that is it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did do the ride or die tag video, feel free to link it down below. I would love to see, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye!